Hello, everyone, and welcome to Harv's World for the next episode of Off the Grid. I'm finally getting caught up. I am getting caught up on this work. Man, it just never bloody ends. Never ends. But all of that straw, I did get all of that baled. I put some in the silo, obviously for raster, and then if I want to get my cattle back in here, I'm going to need that. I still need to get silage made. I need to get that sorted out. What else is going on? I contacted Pierre. He was kind enough to agree to run some timber for me. That was yesterday, so he did run a load, and I'm going to load the trailer again because it's really starting to pile up. I've cleared a third space to sell, to bring in that money for the sawmill, and it's really generating quite a lot more timber than I initially anticipated. The Willamina forest is dense, man. I gotta tell you, it's very, very dense. But there is rain in the forecast for today, so I figured I'd better get an early start on these sunflowers. Because if I don't, I'm not going to get them harvested again. And luckily, there's no straw on these. Now, as far as baling all of that straw, well, yes, I got both fields baled. I took 2 loads over to Hugo and sold them off to him. So that brought in a few bucks. Nothing major, but the timber sale, I want to say, brought in about 35,000, so that's not bad. But having to haul it all that way, pay off Pierre, and take up a whole day of his time, which he doesn't mind doing when he's got the time for it, and that's great. But it's not going to be any kind of fluid income. Now, something unusual happened. I don't know if it's good unusual yet or bad unusual yet. I'll tell you. So, I was coming back from Hugo's, and I was driving by the church. The church that sits up on the hill there. And there was a lady standing out there, and she kind of flagged me down. And so I pulled over, and she walked up, and I said, what can I do for you? And she said, well, the ladies from our church have a group, and our group is in the process of making things like blankets and pillows, quilts, that kind of thing. I don't know. It's a sewing group apparently, but one of the things that they do is they make these types of things for needy families, and a lot of times she said they'll ship them off to impoverished countries. Just something that they can do to help out, which that sounds like that's pretty cool. It's a noble cause. Anyway, she asked me if I was a farmer, and I said yes, I do some farming. And she said, have you ever produced any cotton? And I said, no, I've never planted or harvested any cotton. Don't even really have equipment for that. She said, well, it would be a big help to us in the things that we make if you could provide us with some cotton at some point. And I'm not the kind of guy who says, what's in it for me? But I guess the question still stands, what's in it for me? But at the same time, I'm thinking, they're trying to do something to help. They are trying to do something to better the world, make the world a little kinder place anyway. And so I said, well, I'll see what I can do. These types of groups, church groups, with volunteers and things like that, they're always looking for donations and I suppose there's nothing wrong with helping out if I can. So, you know, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to call Ed and see if he knows of anything, because Ed is always the guy who can get something. Because, quite frankly, I have talked to, well, you know, we have that local equipment place here now, but my goodness, they want to charge an arm and a leg, and I'm thinking, well, you know, I've got enough land here. I could produce some cotton pretty easily. But the real problem is getting it out of my fields once it's grown. That I don't have equipment for, and trying to get that level of equipment is just, yeah, way beyond expensive. So we will see. I'm going to look into it. I like to be helpful. Just my way of being a Chuck. Maybe something along those lines, although I don't think that's quite what I meant by that. Anyway, I'm going to finish off these sunflowers. Then I need to make a trip over to Hugo's, get rid of the rest of some bales, load up a truck for Pierre, and see where we stand at that point. That does it for the sunflowers. I got about 4,400 liters off of that field. Nothing major, but it's enough to keep me going for a good long while. Now I can have my bag of sunflower seeds sitting next to me when I'm driving this tractor. I don't know about you, but I love some good roasted sunflower seeds. Nice and salty. Yum! Abso-flogging-lutely. Got just a little bit off kilter there. Might still be a little bit off kilter. Nope, I think I got her. There we go. Excellent. Yes, Raster, we hear you. Good boy. Good boy. Now, let's see, where am I? Okay, yeah, and you can see the rain is not far from coming in. That could put a real damper on today, unfortunately. And who knows how long it will last, because, well, frankly, the rain in Spain falls mainly forever. Our chickens are doing well. In fact, it looks like we've got some eggs. Very nice indeed. So I'm going to run these bales, the last of my bales, over to Hugo and get some logs loaded up. Now you all might be thinking, why was I coming this direction since, well, last you heard I had blocked this off. Well, I've reopened the south gate. Frankly, I got a little bit tired of having to drive the long way around going to Hugo's, because I was making a lot of trips over to Hugo's hauling bales. Man, those two little fields produce an awful lot of straw. And I kind of feel like since I've got my equipment down here now, if I need to, I mean, I could always block the gate with equipment, but also, since I filed the report with the sheriff, and I have my equipment down here, and it's obvious that I'm working down here in this neck of the woods, then I don't think I'm going to have too much more trouble with timber thieves. That's right, timber thieves. Here we go. This is where Hugo always wants his bales. And he doesn't pay bad. I mean, that was a small load, and that was about 1,000. He still hasn't moved that horse trailer, though. He's a busy guy these days, I suppose. A very busy guy. Alright. Back over to load up some logs. This particular piece of equipment right here, this has made my life significantly easier. Significantly easier. When it comes to loading logs, this thing is amazing. Like, why didn't I have this to begin with? Although sometimes getting them out, because it's just a little bit short. But as a general rule, and look at that. Boom, Bob's your uncle there in there. And you can kind of see the piles I have growing over here. In fact, let's just go look real quick. I can show you where I've been working, what I've been doing. So, this back here, this is spot number 1. Even though they cut too many trees, it's still going to be the first home plot, whatever you want to call it. And the second one right here, I think, is still a pretty good size, a little bit deeper but narrower. And then I just finished cutting out the third one not too long ago. A little bit more forest in the back of it, but I think that will be nice. And then, of course, there's going to be 3 more down along the way through there. And it's going to have its own separate road that's separate from mine, so they can turn off and come up into their vacation homes or whatever these people want to do with them. I don't know yet. I have been giving that a lot of thought, though, because, you know, okay, so based on my real estate agent and local property values and junk like that, a bunch of tedious legal stuff, well, financial stuff, you know, he's telling me, oh, you could make so much more. Yeah, I get that. But I want these to be accessible to everyday people, not just the wealthy people across the lake. And of course, what that's going to lead to, unfortunately, are land speculators who come in and buy cheap property because they know they can sell it off. So what I've got to do to prevent that from happening effectively is put in some stipulations in the contracts that say, you know, you have to hold this land for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. Allow it to be transferable in event of a death, you know, so if you die, you can still leave it to your whomever you want to leave it to, that kind of thing. So it does get a little bit, being generous does get a little bit tricky sometimes, unfortunately, but it is the world that we live in. And, you know, there's all kinds of cash sitting across that bloody lake. You know, I know I probably sound a little bit bitter sometimes when I'm talking about those folks over there and their money. I really don't care how much money they have. It doesn't affect me in any significant way. The only thing that irritates me is a lot of times smaller people get taken advantage of by those who have significant funds, and that's you know, this is my little bit of pushback on that. That's the only care I have at all in this particular situation. Well, I'm probably not doing that trailer any favors, but that actually seemed to work out fairly well. I knew this loader was going to be a good purchase when they started selling stuff off from the sawmill. I knew I couldn't just let it go, so I'm glad I picked it up. It's actually paying for itself right now. I don't know if you remember in the past how slow it was to load logs. Well, you might. I mean, if you've followed this thing through since the beginning. I mean, I started with a little tiny skid steer, which I still own, by the way. It just happens to be up at the farm market area. Yeah, I blew that one. Blew that one big time. I think I got off-center just a little bit too much. Maybe I need to load from the other side. I don't know. There we go. Yeah, I probably ought to bring... These are all kind of... these logs all seem to be a little bit sloped off. I don't know what you want to call it. They taper. It's the taper that's sloped off. Their taper is all toward the same end, so I should probably load this one from the other side. But look at that. Look how many logs that thing can pick up. I mean, that's just outstanding. And you're not going to get around the truck like that, Harv. Not only that, I mean, it does grip them fairly well, even though I'm kind of rocking and rolling them here. Oh, I didn't take into account that I've got these other small logs that I took back from my timber thieves. So they're kind of in the way, but not so much that I can't work around them. And I'm really off kilter on this one. There we go. Not too shabby. Alright, let me finish this up and get back up to the homestead because there's always plenty of work to do up there. So I've been giving a lot of thought to what that lady from the church said to me. Her name was Mrs. Nelson, by the way. And I feel like what they're doing is a good thing. It's a good positive in the world. And, well, I do want to try to pursue a little bit of assistance for them. And if cotton would help them out, which I'm sure it would, to stuff pillows or stuff a quilt or whatever, I think that would be pretty darn nice. And, oh, look at that. There goes Pierre now. I was just finishing uploading that trailer, and Pierre met me down there. And he's running slow, but of course these are rough roads through here, so running slow is the smart way to do it. Outstanding. Go sell those logs for me, buddy. Absolutely. Get them out of here. Anyway, I like what Mrs. Nelson is doing. I like what they stand for. And, again, it's that double-edged sword. I came up here to do my own thing, but I also, at the same time, can't turn my back on humanity. So, am I going to be some big community involvement kind of guy? I don't think so. I'm just trying to make my way in this world without making it a worse place than it already is in a lot of ways. But that doesn't mean I'm going to turn my back on other people who are trying to help make the world a better place. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So anybody who's trying to do good, anybody who's trying to help, why not be supportive of that? In fact, I'll tell you a little personal history. Growing up, my mother was very, very involved with the Salvation Army. She had dedicated her life to the Salvation Army in a way that most people can't understand. She made a commitment to live her life in service of the Salvation Army, to preach God's word, and to help people in need. And she literally worked for them her whole life. And me and my siblings were raised in the Salvation Army. In fact, many of our clothes came from the Salvation Army stores, and we sometimes got our food from the Salvation Army because we did grow up poor. I mean, there's no shame in being poor. There are plenty of people who have financial struggles in the world. But that's very much who she was, and she very much imparted that to me, to be of service to people. And I always found that very important, and I've always found that um, a big part of my personality. So when I say I like a good cause that's trying to do good in the world, that's where I'm coming from. And all the off the grid stories aside, that is actually true. Every bit of that is true. My mother was a good woman, and she did the best she could. But she was a very dedicated woman also, who firmly believed in her choice of religion through the Salvation Army and through helping them with their social programs. So when it comes to a church like that across the lake, I have a hard time saying no. So we're going to see what we can do with some cotton to help those ladies out. Who knows? If it doesn't benefit us financially or in some other way, and I'm not saying that's my goal, not by any stretch. There's always the benefit of feeling like you were true to yourself and being an honorable person, and knowing that you've helped change the world in some minor, insignificant way. Anyway, I need to try to get this field taken care of before the rain sets in. I'm going to do my best. I make no promises. And there we go. One fully cultivated field. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And I even beat the rain. So far, so good. The rain's been holding out, thank God. Now, next phase on my plan, well, yes, I'm gonna get that cotton. I am gonna get the cotton, and that's just a fact, but I'm afraid this rain is gonna come in on me, and I don't want that. And frankly, if I got my planter in the field and the rain came in, I'm just gonna be bogged down in the field, and I can't do anything with it anyway. But what I can do is get out here and start mowing some grass. Now my grass field is ready to go again. It doesn't seem like it's been that long since I turned it into hay, but lo and behold, it has grown up one more time and is ready to be mown. And I didn't get a chance to show you yet, but I did gather up some of the old junk lying around again, and I got my bunker silo all set up and ready to go one more time. I managed to restore it to its former glory-ish state. Whatever you bloody want to call it. So, with that said, it's time to mow some grass. Now, this is what I would consider to be the final phase of getting my cattle in here. This should just take care of the whole cattle situation, with one exception. Actually, it's at least the last phase of getting cattle feed produced, because well, obviously I need the cows, which is going to be it's not chickens, let's put it that way. There's no little horse trailer I can trade for a dozen cows. Cows run a little bit more than chickens when it comes to the money department. Well, there it is, mowed and collected. Well, there's a little scrap right back there. Yes, I should ignore it, and yeah, I just can't. I don't know why, don't ask. But this little grass field never ceases to amaze me. I thought I was doing well with the hay, and it just knocked out 80,000 liters of grass. That's a lot of freaking silage. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier or not, but that's way more than I think I'm going to be needing anytime soon. Although I might need some tire repairs if I keep busting my tires on the fence or the gate over there. And just try to get this trailer in here a little bit. Come on, we can do this. We can do this. Slow and easy. Slow and easy. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I didn't back it up far enough, but I got it in without too much struggle. And still, the rain has not come. The rain still hasn't come. I'm breaking lucky on this one, although I have a sneaking suspicion tomorrow is going to be a bit of a nightmare. I think it's going to be a soggy, wet, disgusting day. I don't know if I'll finish compacting this right now, though. Oh, I spoke too soon. Look at that. Yeah, there won't be any more field work today, but I did want to get that cotton planted, or maybe get another field cultivated and ready for some other crop, but not gonna happen. So let's see, where do we stand? Well, we've got our sunflowers in, just about 4,400 liters. Outstanding. Oh, Pierre did call me. He got that wood delivered, which is nice. He probably won't be back until late tonight, and he won't be able to do any more deliveries for the next few days. He's working for his uncle, but he always enjoys picking up some extra cash, as a young man will want to do. An inspired young man. I mean, you saw his house. He's definitely an inspired young man who's always going to take advantage of an opportunity, especially to make some good cash. And we've got Mrs. Nelson now, who wants some cotton to help out some underprivileged people here and abroad. That's a good way to put it. Underprivileged people here and abroad. I like that. And of course, I can't say no to a good cause. That field is prepped and ready for cotton to go in. It's just a matter of now, when is the rain going to break? I have got grass harvested and collected, and I think I know what I'm going to do about a cattle pasture. I actually did sort that out while I was working on the grass field. A little bit of fingers crossed. It's gonna require some orders, deliveries. It's not going to happen overnight, that's for sure. And a little bit of building, tacking some things together. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it ain't no chicken coop, if you know what I'm talking about. And there I go, not paying attention and driving off the pile. That's a good big pile. Very nice indeed. So as far as cattle feed and cattle care goes, I got that covered. But now it's a matter of finding a place for them to live and getting the cattle, of course, but I'm sure Hugo can sort me out on that one. Anyway, it's been a heck of a busy day here in the Willamina Forest, and I think that's going to do it for this episode of Off the Grid. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. I very much appreciate you coming along for the ride. And until next time, take care.